You didn't suddenly become indecisive. You didn't lose your intuition. You didn't wake up one day incapable of making simple choices. What you're feeling right now is not weakness, it's the aftershock of control. Decisions feel heavy because for a long time they were not neutral. They carried consequences, invited interrogation, and triggered punishment. They came at an emotional cost. Somewhere along the way, your nervous system learned that choosing incorrectly didn't just lead to inconvenience, it led to conflict, withdrawal, rage, disappointment, or being made responsible for somebody else's emotional state. So now, when the danger is gone, your body still treats the choice like threat. That's why deciding what to eat feels exhausting. That's why picking a date, responding to a message, setting a boundary, or committing to a plan can spiral into overthinking. This is why you second guess neutral decisions as if they hold a moral weight. Your system isn't confused, it's cautious, scanning, bracing for something that used to follow choice. Leaving an abusive relationship removed the person, but it did not automatically remove the conditioning. Control fractures decisiveness long after the relationship ends, and nobody talks about this part because it doesn't look dramatic. It's quiet, it's internal, it looks like doubting yourself in moments where there's nothing objectively wrong. This episode is not about intuition or confidence hacks or your mindset. This is about cognitive load after coercion, why your brain feels tired when asked to choose, why your body hesitates even when the stakes are low, and how safety around decision making is rebuilt slowly through repetition, not through force. If you've been asking yourself why everything feels harder than it should by now, you are not behind. You're healing something that most women are never allowed to name. I'm Megan Webster. I'm an abuse recovery coach, a trauma-informed strategist, and the woman a narcissist hopes to never meet twice. This is the Narcissist Worst Nightmare podcast where women decide to leave abuse and toxicity behind, rebuilding their nervous systems, learning how to trust themselves again out loud in real life. What I'm sharing today is something almost every single woman feels after controlling dynamics, but it's rarely understood. Why making decisions feel so heavy now, and why even small choices can feel overwhelming. Why doubt lingers long after the relationship ends, and how safe is rebuilt without forcing confidence that your body doesn't trust yet. This is not meant to push you harder. It's about understanding what your nervous system learned and how we can retrain it. Control is not just about being told what to do. It's about having your internal reference eroded. Inside of abusive relationships, choice is rarely neutral. Preferences are questioned, boundaries are negotiated, decisions are met with reactions instead of respect. Over time, your system learns that choosing incorrectly has emotional consequences, and emotional consequences feel dangerous. You stopped deciding freely and started deciding strategically. You learned to anticipate responses, weigh outcomes, adjust choices to minimize fallout. You softened your opinion, you delayed decisions, and you asked permission where none is required, while explaining yourself preemptively to avoid being misunderstood, criticized, or punished. That pattern does not just shut off because you leave. After the relationship ends, your nervous system is still operating under the assumption that choice invites consequence. The external authority is gone, but the internalized pressure remains. This is why women say they feel safer but not freer. Safety removes the threat. Freedom requires the system to relearn neutrality around choice. This is the distinction that nobody explains. When control was present, decisiveness was dangerous. Flexibility kept you safer. Agreeableness reduced volatility. Indecision bought you time. Those strategies worked. They kept you oriented. They kept you protected. Now they feel like dysfunction, but they were adaptation. Decision fatigue after abuse is not failure, it's residue. It's the nervous system still calculating risk environments that no longer demand it. Your nervous system does not trust the decisions are safe yet because it does not have enough evidence to prove that they are. Trust is not restored through reassurance, it is restored through experience. One of the most confusing parts of post-abuse recovery is how trivial choices can feel harder than the major ones. You can leave the relationship, you can rebuild your life, you can handle crisis, but deciding what to say, what to choose, or how to respond feels paralyzing. This isn't contradiction, it's pattern. Big decisions during survival were often unavoidable. They came with urgency. Your system mobilized around necessity. There was no time to overthink because danger required action. Small decisions, however, were where your control lived. What you wore, what you said, how you phrased things, when you rested, whether you needed space. Those moments where scrutiny appeared, where choices choice invited commentary, where autonomy was subtly challenged. So now, when a decision doesn't have urgency, your system doesn't mobilize. It hesitates, scans, overanalyzes, and it waits for something to go wrong. This is why women say they feel stupid for struggling with basic things. They're not struggling with the decision itself, they're responding to the memory of consequence. Second-guessing neutral decisions is a hallmark of conditioning. Your system learned that neutrality didn't exist and every choice meant something. So now your brain runs to check, did I choose correctly? Did I miss something? Should I ask somebody? Will this backfire? Did I explain it enough? Should I have waited? What if this was the wrong call? This is not a lack of confidence, it's a cognitive load left over from the control. Your brain is tired because it's still performing safety calculations that are no longer required. And the solution is to not push past it. The solution is to rebuild decisional safety the same way it was fractured. Slowly, repetitive, without punishment. Doubt after abuse is not intuition sharpening. It is a learned response to coercion. Inside of coerced dynamics, certainty is punished. Confidence is challenged. Decisions are questioned until you start questioning yourself. Over time, you learn that being sure of yourself creates conflict, while being unsure keeps things calmer. So doubt becomes protective. You stop trusting the first answer, you rehearse alternatives, and you wait to see how the other person reacts before settling on what you want. You hide your internal instincts because they were repeatedly framed as wrong, selfish, dramatic, or irrational. This is how coercion fractures decisiveness, not through overt control, but through persistent erosion of self-trust. After leaving, that coercion doesn't magically repair itself. The habit of doubt remains because it was reinforced 1,000 times. Your system learned that certainty was risky and flexibility was safer. So even now, in neutral environments, your body hesitates before committing to a choice. A lot of my clients will say things like, I don't know what I want anymore, when what they actually mean is, I don't trust myself to want something without consequence. Doubt is what happens when safety was conditional. You were trained to second guess, not because you lacked insight, but because your insight was destabilizing in a system that demanded compliance. That training worked then, but it does not serve you now. The mistake most women make is assuming doubt means they should wait longer, analyze more, gather more information. In reality, doubt is often the residue of having your authority undermined, not a sign that thinking will produce clarity. That doesn't come from overprocessing. It comes from experiencing that choice no longer provokes a threat. And just because you feel safe doesn't mean you feel confidence in making a choice. Confidence is not a personality trait, it is a nervous system state. Inside of controlling relationships, confidence is destabilizing because it disrupts their power. Certainty threatens control. Independence reduces leverage, so confidence is subtly discouraged, challenged, or refamed as arrogance, selfishness, or recklessness. After leaving, women often expect confidence to rebound naturally. They think once the threat is gone, decisiveness will return, but when it doesn't, they assume something is wrong with them. Nothing is wrong. Confidence doesn't return instantly because your nervous system has not been given enough proof that certainty is now safe. Confidence is built through choosing and seeing that nothing bad follows, through making decisions and watching the world remain intact, through expressing preferences and not being interrogated, through saying no and not losing connection. This takes time because the system is cautious by design. Your body learned that certainty led to escalation. It learned that decisiveness provoked response, that standing firm created instability. So now it waits, checks, delays, not because you're weak or you don't understand. It's trying to protect you from outcomes that used to follow confidence. This is why forcing confidence backfires. When women push themselves to trust themselves already, your nervous system is going to resist. It hesitates more because safety has not been proven yet. Confidence is not something you summon, it's something that accumulates. With every neutral decision that doesn't result in a follow, it adds a layer. Every choice that's made without explanation adds another. Every boundary held without punishment reinforces that safety for you. This is going to feel like slow work. It is not glamorous, it is not cute. It's repetitive, and it's how your decisiveness will return. Confidence doesn't come from knowing you will always choose right. It comes from knowing you'll survive even if you don't. I've shared this on other episodes, but you cannot logic your way through healing. When decisions feel heavy after control, the the instinct is to think more, analyze longer, weigh every angle, imagine every possible outcome so nothing can surprise you. That is a trauma response. The instinct makes sense because it kept you safe before. But after abuse, overthinking is not going to restore that for you. It's going to amplify paralysis. Inside of the abusive relationship, thinking ahead was necessary. You learned to anticipate reactions, consequences, and mood shifts. You learned that if you could predict outcomes well enough, you could minimize damage, so your brain became hyper-skilled at scenario building. After leaving, that skill doesn't shut off. It just loses its original target. Now the same system is turned inward to you. You analyze your own decisions the way you used to analyze somebody else's emotions. You question tone, timing, impact. You replay conversations that haven't happened yet. You attempt to control outcomes that no longer need management, which is why small decisions feel so exhausting. Each choice carries imagined consequence because your nervous system still believes every move mattered. The problem is not that you're indecisive, it's that your brain is still doing threat management in non-threatening environments. Thinking harder may feel productive, but it's going to keep you stuck in the same survival loop. You're trying to outthink a physiological response that never works. Decisiveness doesn't come from certainty. It comes from tolerance, the ability to choose without knowing how it will land and stay regulated anyway. That skill was not allowed to develop under control, so now it has to be built deliberately. And no, this is not affirmations in the mirror or mindset shifts. It comes from repeated embodied proof that choosing no longer puts you at risk. After abuse, decision fatigue is common because your system is still running on borrowed energy. For a long time, your nervous system operated in a heightened state. Adrenaline compensated for depletion. Hypervigilance filled in for rest. Responsibility replaced regulation. You function because you had to. Once that pressure lifts, the cost will show up. Suddenly, choices that once felt manageable are overwhelming. You put off decisions not because you don't care, but because your system is tired of being the one who holds everything together. This fatigue is often misinterpreted as laziness or avoidance, and it's neither. Your nervous system is asking for a lesser load. A lot of women will shame themselves for this phase and they push harder. They try to force productivity and momentum, but it only deepens their exhaustion. What actually helps is reducing decision volume while rebuilding trust. Fewer choices, slower pacing, external structure, clear defaults, and this is why support really matters here. Inside of the Reinvent, Rebuild, and Redeem membership, this phase is treated as recalibration, not failure. Women are not told to push through. They are not given a rigid set of rules of what they have to get done. They're taught how to lower cognitive demand while their system relearns safety. Decision capacity expands when the system is no longer overwhelmed. You don't rebuild decisiveness by demanding more of yourself. You rebuild it by asking less while trust is under construction. Decision safety is containment. That experience has to be lived, not imagined. The process looks super simple on the surface, but it's profound in effect. Low-stake choices that don't require justification. They don't require explaining. Things you don't have to revisit. You decide what to eat and you don't apologize. You choose when to leave and you don't overthink it. You say no without cushioning it or softening your words. Every time nothing bad happens, your nervous system is recording the data. The data matters more than your awareness. Over time, these moments stack and these systems stop scanning so aggressively, your body starts to soften sooner, and the pause between choice and doubt shortens. This is not about being decisive in every area of your life at once. It's really about rebuilding trust in your eternal authority, one choice at a time. This is why healing stalls when women stay isolated. Decision safety is not relational. It develops faster when your choices are witnessed without consequence, when someone doesn't punish your no, when your preferences don't disrupt connection, when certainty is not challenged. This is the environment the RRR membership is designed to provide. Structure, containment, repetition, regulation, love, and support. Because decisiveness returns where safety is consistent. You don't need to become a different person. You just need enough proof that choosing no longer costs you stability. If making decisions feels heavy right now, it doesn't mean you've lost yourself forever. It means your system has learned to survive inside control and it has not been retrained yet. The weight you feel is not weakness. It's a residual effect of the trauma. And this will clear up with experience, not pressure. You don't rebuild decisiveness by demanding certainty. safety. You rebuild it by choosing to stay present long enough to see that nothing collapses. Your confidence didn't disappear. It's waiting for safety to become familiar again. If this episode needs something for you you've been carrying silently, let that matter. Please share this with another woman who keeps apologizing for hesitating. Hit follow so you don't miss the next one. And if you are ready to start rebuilding trust within yourself and your decisions, the RRR membership is for you. Our link to join is in the show notes. This is the Narcissist's Worst Nightmare podcast, where survival patterns are understood and power is rebuilt one embodied choice at a time.